Alright, everybody, welcome back to Majr Gaming, and today we're gonna talk about why Scott Jund is making some weird arguments that kinda don't make sense. Um, so, Scott put out this video saying that Dracula sorta makes spirit not valid. That Dracula in his bat form alone is stronger than spirit, and that makes spirit useless, essentially, or makes spirit not as good, or whatever. And I don't agree with that, considering there are plenty of differences between bat form and spirit. I think bat form is a lot easier to counter than spirit. Because for one, you can't M1 right away out of it, and two, which is something that he didn't even bring up in the video, which is a very important thing. He acknowledged it after in comments and on Twitter, but his acknowledgments were really bad. Like, they were dumb. Because there's the fact that spirit you can't see coming, and bat form you can literally see and hear coming. And he just said, "Oh, get headphones," which I don't know about you, but if you need headphones, specific headphones, better headphones to counter killer, that killer has a harder counter than the killer you can just look at. Okay? That's common sense, Scott. That is easily common sense. I can see the F1 tornado of bats coming at me with the giant bat in the middle. But I can't see spirit at all. Other than maybe some blades of grass will move. Which one is easier to counter? The one I can only hear, or the one I can see and hear? Please, tell me, which one? Because, it's the bat. The bat form is easier to deal with when you can see the bat, hear the bats going every 2 seconds. Like, that's literally, like, one of the loudest noises in this damn game. And then you can also, if you have the heartbeat turned on, it has a lullaby that you can physically see on your character. Before you can see the lullaby before you see the bat. You can see the lullaby turn, see the bat, act accordingly, or hear the bat. Like, you can see the bat before it's near you. So how is that harder, or how is that harder to counter than spirit, where you cannot see them coming and they can M1 you right out of it? Dracula can't change and then grab you off a gen that easy. You know who can? Spirit. I was playing Spirit yesterday. Now, I am not a Spirit main at all, but I picked up Spirit. I won 4 games in a row. And easily, too. Like, they didn't even get to 1 gen. And then, one of those games, I grabbed someone straight off the gen, because they didn't see me coming. But you're not doing that with Dracula. If you are, that it's on the survivor at that point. That's not a Dracula thing. It's a survivor thing. Like, if you're a survivor and you don't get off a gen after seeing the lullaby, hearing the bats, seeing the bat transform back into Dracula, like, I don't even know if you can actually pull off the gen after switching to bat form, because once you're out of bat form, you're not undetectable anymore. So I don't even know if it's even possible. But if it is in some weird way, like, because Spirit is undetectable for like 2 seconds after she phases back. That's how she could grab. Unless you don't have to be undetectable to grab off a gen, that mechanic is a little weird to me, because sometimes I go up to a survivor on a gen and hit them, and I think, oh, I'm gonna grab them. No, they just get hit and then run away. But then other times I don't expect to grab them, and I'll fucking go over and then I grab them and I'm like, oh shit. So that mechanic has always been a little weird to me, kind of random. But I assumed that you have to be undetectable in order to grab off the gen, because it happens a lot more when I play like Pig or something. But regardless, that's the kind of the point. It's like Spirit is harder to counter than the bat form. It is. The bat form might, at least in terms of like knowing it's coming. Yeah, the bat form is probably a little bit better at catching up to survivors once you know where they are. But at the end of the day, like, if you see a survivor, because I watched a little bit of his video where he's like, oh, I played 3 hours of Dracula only bat form, and then a lot of the times what would happen is he would catch up to them at a pallet, and they would just be standing at the pallet trying to stun or something. And it's like, if you hold W against the bat form, you don't try to stun. You get out, you lose line of sight, you hop in a locker if you can, because the bat form can only see scratch marks. So like, if you get far enough away and then get into a locker, it's very unlikely that the killer is going to know you're there, because they didn't see, they might take a guess, but it depends on how far away you were. If you hop into a locker and the bat form is like right behind you, obviously that's not going to work. But I'm saying, like, if you're able to keep your distance from the bat form and you're pretty far ways away and you hop into a locker and the scratch marks disappear before the killer gets there, that they're not gonna know. Or they might, even in Dracula's case, he can't see where you went, so he might assume you just started walking or crouching or something. There's so many like different ways to go about that. There was a video where he was like, oh, bat form is essentially Chucky because he flew in through shack window, and then hold on, I gotta pause real quick. Alright, my bad. I had to pause the video. Anyway, as I was saying about you guys won't see the pause happen, obviously. It's just, I had to pause for a second. Now I gotta get back on track what I was saying. Alright, so he flew in through shack window, and the survivor was literally like standing in the middle of shack. He de-transformed, and the survivor was just standing there. And he's like, oh, it's a Chucky scamper. It's a Chucky scamper. Look at it. Look, the survivor. Oh no, he de-transformed. The survivor was just standing in the middle of shack. The survivor then ran out the window, went around, and he got the hit. But like, and then he was like, oh, it's a Chucky scamper because the survivor couldn't make it all the way around the shack to the window. I'm like, the survivor was just standing there, like, for a good minute up until you transformed. Like, what? How is that the same? For, like, any good, like, you gotta look at the skill of the survivors you're playing against. He has this thing where, like, he'll just go into random games and be like, oh, like, that just proves my point that this is too strong. And it's like, survivors suck. A lot of the time they suck. Like, as someone who plays solo queue and then plays killer both, survivors at this game suck in random games. A lot of the times, the only time you really get a decent survivor is when they group up, or if like you get like one lucky game. Okay? Like that survivor literally stood in the middle of shack and waited for you to transform before they even moved. Like you're gonna get the hit. Like that, but that the survivor could have went left to the pallet. The survivor could have went in through the window you went at when you went through the window and were about to transform. The survivor could have ran and vaulted that same window and got away. Or the survivor could have, while you're going through the window, the giant bat flying through the window. You could just go to the left and hit the pallet, pre-drop the pallet or something, and then make your way around the thing and mind game it. Like there were other options the survivor just didn't take, and yet you're using that as concrete proof that somehow the bat form is 100% Chucky all of a sudden. Especially because Vecna can also do the same thing. Vecna can fly through the window, and yeah, he can't M1 right away, but like Vecna would have been able to do the same exact thing. Vecna would have been able to fly through the window. The survivor would have seen him, but then like the Vecna could have went around and then just like dropped his skeletons on him or something. Like Vecna is literally capable of very similar things, only he's actually able to injure the survivor faster, because he just drops and then he can use a spell. He has range. He could lift up. He could block the pallet. Like Vecna has less counterplay than Dracula in that situation, but for some reason Dracula is the new scamper. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't. Now let me explain. This is not me saying Dracula isn't strong. It's just these specific arguments that are being made and comparisons are weird. Like, to say Dracula is strong, yeah, probably. He seems pretty strong. I mean, he doesn't seem overpowered, though. He doesn't seem, like, broken or anything. He just seems like a high A tier, maybe S tier killer, but I don't even think he's that. I think that these survivors just kind of suck. They're not that great. They don't have a lot of coordination, and that just is what it is. You gotta, if you're going to, one of my biggest critiques of Scott is if you are going to run a test, like a test like, oh, how many games can I win using only Dracula's bat form consistently? If you want to test consistency, you have to have a consistent opponent. You can't just have random opponents and then test consistency. Because you have the people on the other end have no idea you're running a test. They have no idea who they're going against. They have no idea anything. They could just not be trying. They could be actually good survivors. Let's not even say they suck. They could just be having a casual game where they're like, I don't care if I lose or win. That alone negates your thing where it's like, oh, he's consistently strong. No, your opponent just wasn't trying. And that's just how the game is. You could get random maps, random perk, whatever the survivors are. You could get a survivor with like one perk in a game. Now, I'm not saying he did, but you could have. Which then does that really prove that Dracula is super strong if you get a survivor with one perk during your stream? Or you get a survivor that runs no mither. Like, is that really, like, gonna prove that the killer is the strong part of this? Or is it gonna prove that the survivors weren't trying, weren't taking it seriously? You have to have consistency. You have to go against a team that, a 4-man squad, whether on comms or not, doesn't matter. They just have to all be aware of the fact that you are running the test. They have to be aware of it, and you have to make your games consistent. And he knows that he has to be consistent because he refused to change his build. He's like, no, I can't change my build. My build has to be the same throughout the games. Your opponents aren't the same throughout the games, so it still doesn't matter. The people you're going against could be anybody at any time with any skill level. You don't know. The game's MMR is trash. It'll put you with anyone at this point. Like, it'll put you with anyone other than a baby survivor. Like, you'll get, like, I don't care how high he thinks his MMR is. I don't care. Because he can't check it. And if he can't check it, he can't prove that and he can't check anyone else's. So, like, he might be high MMR. He might not. But even if he is high MMR, that doesn't mean he's going against high MMR players because this game puts Q times ahead of MMR. So it doesn't make sense the way he does these tests and then claims, oh, I 100% got it. I 100%. This is too strong. This is exactly what I was saying. Like, you have if you went against the same four-man like 10 times in a row and won every time 12 hooking whatever, sure, I got you then. Okay, if you ran against the same people that knew what you were doing and knew what you were going to try to accomplish and were actively trying their hardest to stop that from happening, and everyone was on the same page, yeah, I could see that argument. But you can't argue consistent strength without a consistent opponent. Like, it just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Okay, I don't care. It doesn't. Like, that's common sense. You need a consistent opponent to prove consistent strength. But all right, so then there's that, and then, oh god, and then there's this other argument he made that, now, arguing that Dracula is strong is one thing, and I agree with it for the most part. I don't think he's as strong as he's saying, but he is a strong character. He's at least A tier. Like, I think he's a good character. But actually, there's even another argument that I needed to talk about. So this one I don't understand. And maybe it could just be me misunderstanding it, but we're going to talk about it. He says that Dracula invalidates spirit while having extra powers. Now, he makes that a point. He says Dracula is spirit with more powers. But then he also says that bat form is all you need as Dracula, and the other forms are weaker. So in one argument, he's saying that Dracula has spirit plus. But he's also saying that that plus, the extra, is weaker than the spirit part. So if you were to switch between your forms, that would put you at a detriment. If you get what I'm saying, like, how is the extra, the wolf form and then the hellfire, how is that extra, like, weaker than bat form, but also an extra, like, good thing? If the wolf form and hellfire are weaker than bat form, then switching between the forms would put you at a detriment. So if you're putting yourself at a detriment, then why does it matter if Dracula has the extra forms and bat form? How is he spirit plus if the plus is weaker than the spirit part? You get what I'm saying? Like, that argument doesn't make sense to me. He's spirit plus, but the extra is weaker than the spirit part. So the extra is actually a detriment that makes him worse than spirit. If the wolf form and the hellfire are weaker, then using them would make you weaker, which would make you weaker than spirit. Maybe I'm not understanding that properly, but that whole sentence just doesn't make those two arguments don't make sense together to me. Now, we're also going to talk about how Scott believes that not only is Spirit not S tier, but she hasn't been S tier for a long time, and that no one thinks she's S tier, which is wrong. I'm just going to tell you right now, he is wrong about this. And I have proof that he's wrong. That no one thinks Spirit is S tier. And that no one, that is just this common thing that Spirit hasn't been S tier in a long time. I'm going to prove that he's wrong with this. Because he is. And I'll show you. That's the whole reason why I have this video still up. Because he says right here, Spirit hasn't been S tier for a while, man. When she has been. He's wrong. And he also asked me down here, she dropped out of top 3 a while ago. She's more like 5'7" now. Okay. So, how is she 5 to 7th strongest killer, but not an S tier? Well, even then, she's saying she dropped out of top 3 a while ago. When she hasn't. At least not a while ago. There are still a lot of people that think Spirit is top 3. And then he's asking me to give examples of Spirit being in the S tier top 3. So I'm gonna show why the Spirit is considered S tier and still is and has no reason not to be. And the reason being of this power creep argument. Now, just because a killer gets power crept, the original killer does not get weaker from the power creep. And I don't understand where this idea comes from of another killer has a similar power, so the original killer now just isn't as strong. That doesn't make sense to me because the original killer was never changed. So if they were strong before, they should still be strong. It's just now there might be a stronger killer. When you make a tier, like an S tier, you can have as many killers in it as you want. So why is Spirit dropping another tier when she hasn't gotten weaker? She hasn't. Though I'm gonna show you in the last change to her base kit, her last change, she has not received any changes since October 19th, 2021 at the Hour of the Witch chapter when Michaela dropped. She has not received any changes since then. None. No add-on changes, base kit, nothing. And all of these changes were add-on changes except for one that gave her the directional audio. Other than that, these changes are only add-on based. And if we really want to count add-ons that strongly to the point where it drops her a whole tier, Majr is a top tier killer. He is. His add-ons are broken and have been for so long. Do we not I have a game on my channel where I played double iridescent Majrs. I did unlimited tier 3 and then tombstone, which gave me unlimited tombstone for 200 plus 200% plus on the Evil Within thing. Now, I played this game. First time ever doing it, by the way. I had never played Majrs like that before. and because I was just like fucking around. I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes. I've never done this before. Let's try it. I got a 4K with one hook because I only had to hook one survivor. I injured them. I hooked one, and then I stalked the others. They got down to like one gen. I popped my tier 3 and just killed them all before they got that last gen done with like two people left, and I killed them both before they exited. Now, again, that was my first time ever doing that. I got a 4K with one hook. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to have fun. I was trying to see how strong it actually was. And yeah, those two add-ons together are broken. And they haven't even been changed. They're still the same. So like, they are broken. They are broken. They are S tier. And they make Majr's S tier. But then you also have his jump scare Majr's build with his add-ons that make him weaker. His base kit weaker. And then you have his normal base kit with like other add-ons that are like normal. So like if we're really taking add-ons into consideration that much, Majr's is S tier. Like you can't like have it both ways. You know? Like it doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's why it doesn't make sense. Oh, our add-ons were nerfed. Well, Majr's add-ons make him S tier, but he's not considered S tier. Why? Well, it's because add-ons aren't everything that's considered. You have to consider everything. The chances of you running into a spirit with these add-ons anyway probably wasn't that likely. It's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then she only got one base kit change that didn't even nerf her in any like direct way. It just gave survivors more counterplay, which is a nerf, but it's not like her base kit was made worse. It's just she had some counterplay now. Like, and that's the thing. It's like it doesn't. And this was 2021, and she hasn't received any changes since. So when did she drop below S tier? Did this make her drop below S tier? Because this is when I started playing DBD when around Michaela and Pinhead dropped. And I've watched many tier lists since then, and Spirit has been top 3 since I started. Shit, I've never seen anyone other than Scott drop her below S tier since I started, and this is when I started. This is the only Spirit I've known. And she's been S tier, according to Otts, True, Mint Skull, whoever makes tier lists, like Das Food, I don't know, like just all these different content creators that make tier lists, they've always put Spirit in S tier. Up until Hillbilly recently got changed this year, it has been Nurse Blight Spirit. Nurse Blight Spirit. That's all I've seen. So I don't understand if she has received no changes and no nerfs. And then people bring up, oh, well, the game has changed. Now there are base kit changes that to the whole game that make her weaker. Base kit changes make every killer weaker. They don't just affect Spirit. What? Like when the base kit changes literally affect all killers essentially equally. Some less than others by a little bit, but for the most part, like they all serve the same purpose. Okay? Spirit, why is Spirit so affected by these things that drop her down a whole tier? If anything, Spirit is one, like the anti-tunnel, she's one of the best tunnelers in the game. Because she can just go back to hook, phased, and then knock them out again. Like while they're healing. Like she's one of the best at that. She's a pretty good camper. Again, because of the same reason. She can move around the map really fast. Like, it doesn't... Like, there's no, I can't think of an actual legit reason for her to be dropped down to A tier when nothing has happened to her. Like, in the past 3 years of the game. Like, nothing. There's nothing. It doesn't make sense to me. That logic is not logicking. And then we're going to go through. So now is my proof that these tier lists do have Spirit in top 3 or S tier. This is going to be my proof. I'm going to prove it now. So first up, we have Mint Skull DVD tier list. Alright. So 5 days ago. Now we're going to mute it for now because I don't need to play the video. That's not what I need to do. All I need to do is find Spirit. Actually, no, I could just skip to the end. Oh yeah, this is where Spirit is. Spirit is number 4 on his list. 4, the Spirit. You know where Dracula is? 14. Now, Mint Skull is not the be-all, end-all of opinions about this, so I'm not trying to say this 100% makes Dark Lord 14, but he's put Spirit at 4, and this was like 5 days ago. Now, alright, now let's do Tofu. Killer tier list, Vecna patch, 3 months ago. Spirit, right here. Top 3. Now, I don't think, yeah, no, he's not going to be in here. But, yeah, so, alright, actually, near the end, hold up. He put Chucky above Spirit. So, Spirit is still top 5, but she's still in S tier, okay? So, alright, I was wrong about the top 3. I didn't watch the video fully. My bad. My bad. But she's still in S tier. She's still considered S tier. And the reason being, we can have as many S tier killers as we want. She doesn't have to drop to A tier just because there's more S tier killers. It doesn't have to be that way. She's still considered S tier by Tofu 3 months ago. True. DVD tier list. True Talent, Killer tier list. 1 month ago. Spirit is up there. True has her in second. Hold on, let's skip to the end here. Okay, no, not in second. Alright, by the end of the video, she's still S tier. She's S plus tier. But she's behind Pyramid Head and Twins in True's eyes here. And then Dark Lord is just S. He's down here. Now, obviously, the way True does it is different. But he still puts Spirit S plus. With Twins and Pyramid Head, she's still top 6. She's still an S plus. Like, and so Odds Killer tier list. Now, this is 9 months ago. So obviously this one's probably going to be a little out of date, but as we've said, Spirit hasn't received any changes in 3 years. And you see, he has Spirit, A plus tier, top 3. She's not an S, technically, but she's still the top 3 killer. She's an A plus tier, whatever you want to make of that. It's essentially S. Like, A plus is just like barely under S, you know? And she's still considered top 3 by odds. Now, yes, this was 9 months ago, but 9 months ago, actually, I think that was when Chucky still had his scamper. I'm pretty sure. Because he got changed recently, like within, like, around when it was the Vecna patch. That's when Chucky got changed to remove his scamper. It was around when Vecna came out. So this was when Chucky had his scamper. And he has Chucky under Spirit. Scamper Chucky, Otts has under Spirit. Like, I don't understand where Scott gets this idea that no one thinks Spirit is strong. She's just not S tier. When I just got you 4 different people making different tier lists recently that put her in S tier. And these are the biggest creators. Otz is huge. Like, he's the Dead by Daylight streamer. True Talent, he's a big streamer. He has played this, both Otz and True have played since the beginning of DBD. Mint Skull is a big streamer. I don't understand. Tofu, I'm pretty sure he's a competitive player. And Scott actually respects Tofu. I've seen him reference Tofu's opinions before. So if you're referencing Tofu's opinions, Tofu had her in S tier 3 months ago. 3. Like, I don't understand. Like, if I just look up DBD killer tier list, just in general. Let's see. Let's see what pops up. Now, this guy. All right, right here. Let's see. I have no idea who this guy is. I've never seen this video before. Let's see where he ends up putting Spirit. Now, this is just some random guy. Spirit's in S tier. I have never seen this video before in my life. Spirit's in S tier by the end of the video. He put Blight in A, which is very odd. I don't think that's right. But still, the idea that he put Spirit above Blight. And so, like, that was literally just a random video. I don't know this guy, Taco Hagasaki. Okay? I don't know who this guy is, but he put Spirit in S tier. Like, and that was just a random video. I never even tried to look at that video before. Like, and that was, 3 weeks ago. Alright, Killer tier list, Dracula patch, Juglet, 2 months ago. Let's see where he put Spirit by the end of it. Oh, look at that. Spirit's in S tier. Spirit's in S tier. Right behind Nurse, Hillbilly, Blight, and above Chucky. Like, he's a... What? Random guy. I've never heard of Juglet before. But he put Spirit in S tier. Alright, I found 6 tier lists so far. Killer rework tier list. No, that's not what it... Killer ranked easiest to hardest. Strongest killer tier list by Stockdid. Let's see where he puts Spirit by the end of this. See, he put Spirit above Blight. Spirit's above Blight. He put Spirit in S. Stockdid it. That he put Spirit in S tier. And again, I don't know. I've literally never seen this video before. I am as surprised as anyone else. But I found 7 tier lists made recently where Spirit is S tier. Okay, Scott, you are wrong. You are wrong. No one says she's an S tier. No one, right? Yeah, no. She's been out of S tier for a while, man. Yeah, no, you're fucking wrong. And I just, like, it's just, no one couldn't possibly see Spirit in S tier. Like, yeah, whatever. Oh my, I did, like, I'm genuinely surprised by how right I was. Because I found 7 tier lists, right? Whenever you look up DBD killer tier lists, 7 of them pop up, like, with Spirit in S tier. And from big to small streamers. So it's like, no, you're wrong, dog, you're wrong. And that's okay, you can be wrong. And I'm not even saying that you're wrong that Dracula is strong. I'm saying that you're wrong that Spirit has not been considered S tier. I don't know what tier list you're watching, but from the big streamers to the small streamers, Spirit is still S tier. And you want to know why? Because she hasn't received any changes since 2021. And even then, they were add-on changes. I feel vindicated. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it, and y'all can say, "Oh, I'm just chasing clout, whatever the fuck, I don't care." No, this is about the principle. This is about respect. I will be respected. What I say and how right I am will be respected. You're not going to tell me I'm wrong when I'm not wrong. My memory is too good for you to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, okay? I remember these things. It's a blessing and a curse, but I do. Like I watch these things and I remember them and I keep them in my head. You're not going to tell me that. Spirit has been S tier for years. I've never seen her out of S tier. I don't know what tier list you're dropping. If you want to show me the tier list you're watching that put her out of S tier, you do you. But that's the thing. It's like she is S tier. Top 3, maybe not everyone thinks she's top 3. Some do. Ots did. Ots considered her top 3. Some consider her stronger than Blight, which is crazy. But, like, that's the thing. It's like, for one, this is all opinions, obviously. So, like, nothing can actually be right or wrong, other than the fact that, yes, people do consider her S tier. That was very provably correct. But whether they're correct with their statement that she is S tier, it's an opinion. You can't really actually say that they are right. You could just say that they said that. That's what my argument is. I'm not saying they're 100% correct, but you're not going to tell me that people don't consider her S tier. So, because they do, and you can prove that. So, yeah, it's like it was just very annoying to have to deal with that. Like the oh, you're definitely, like, the cockiness of saying, "Oh, you're not right. You're not right. She hasn't been." But no explanation why. Just, "Oh no, she's not S tier." No, she is. She is. So yeah, that's that. That's pretty much my whole argument, or my arguments, because I made those other arguments at the beginning of the video. But yeah, I I just wanted to say what I needed to say there. Now again, whether Dracula is strong or not, whether Dracula is S tier or not, I honestly don't think we've spent enough time with him to actually say, he's definitely S tier, and he might get nerfed soon. I don't even know if he'll get nerfed. He might get a small nerf, but I don't think it will actually do anything. Because, like, and at the end of the day, Behavior is trying to make stronger killers, I think. Like, they are trying to make these killers A to S tier. Like, at least. Like, have we not seen some of these buffs they're doing? They are trying to giga buff these killers. And I think it's because they also want to giga buff survivors eventually. They eventually want to do some big changes to Survivor, but they're buffing all the killers first. That way, because that's the harder task. Like, if buffing each killer, all 37 of them, will 100% take more time and effort than giving survivors a base kit buff that giga buffs them. So they have to giga buff the killers first and get through all of them, get them all in a decent spot, and then giga buff survivors afterwards. I think that's what they're doing, honestly. So, like, I think that's what they're working on. So I don't think Dracula is going to get any major nerfs. I think Vecna might get buffed, but regardless, this isn't a video on that. This is a video on Scott's argument to me, and you could go in the comments and see for yourself on his video. Like, he said these things, and yeah, I'm just holding him accountable to what he said. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll call it there. Everyone, have a good day. Don't let people tell you you're wrong when you know you're right. Don't just take shit on the chin just because someone is bigger than you. Someone has more of a platform. Someone has a fan. No, I don't care. I don't care how many people come at me to support you and your opinion. I don't care. I will go through all of them. I will make them all realize that they could be wrong. You know, I'm not saying I'm 100% right all the time, but I don't care. I don't care how big you are. I will go after anyone. It does not matter to me. And I will bring receipts. It is what it is. So, yeah. Anyway, have a good day. Be good people. Bye bye.